Hello, we're going to be doing the continuation of the Fork U series, and this is the original, a over-the-top shooter, and this is the one I did last night, this little beauty. And let's do some comparisons, shall we? First of all, we'll establish the right size. Let's do the original. It's a 10cm base, 10cm forks. It's a 4cm gap between the forks, and it's 5cm high. Now, this is an over-the-top shooter, and I've been thinking, since doing some adjustments last night and playing around, if you had another piece of wood, just as thick as my finger there, or if you the same piece of wood, you know, I'm going to get some proper wood, because this is awful, but with another piece of wood just sticking out here, it doesn't have to be any particular shape, then that'll just serve as a finger rest, and that'll be fine, that'll be absolutely perfect. Now, I've already hunted with this catapult and it's perfectly acceptable. It's a very comfortable shooter, in fact, once you get used to it. So I'm going to make another one once I get some wood, like I say, and that'll be the Fork U. Now on to its cousin, or sister, or whatever you want to call it. Doesn't that look pretty? Like one of those things out of Tron. Or an Aztec house, or whatever they used to have. Right. This was originally going to be smaller, but I wanted to do two. The small one was going to have the nubbin on the bottom, like that. But I wanted to do a larger one with a big fork for shooting through the fork. But what I decided to do was mix the two when I was sitting around drawing it last night. And what we have here is what has turned out to be a very interesting shooter. I'm extremely happy with it. Let's start off with the dimensions. This is a 12cm gap on the top. It's just... Now, I doubt you can see this. You don't have to see this, but there we go. Just have to take my word for it. That's a 12cm gap across the top, all the way across, with a 8cm gap in the middle. 8 centimeters, mind you. And this is actually the very bottom of the base here, comes down to, or the bottom of the handle, for want of a better word, comes to 10 centimeters, and the nubbin is only a couple of centimeters around. Now, let's talk about the nub. I was going to put a pinky hole in here originally, but when I got it out, a little bit of wood from this cheap wood chipped off the side and turned it into a round one. Or basically, I turned it into a round one eventually because I realised that the shape was there. And doing so provided us with this, that hook there. And shooting with this last night, boy oh boy am I pleased with it. This is something else, let me tell you. I've had some great fun with this already, and it's extremely accurate. I'm very, very pleased. Let's talk about the prongs quickly, because without those it's only half one. It's only half a shooter. Can be shot over the top, as you can see, but I'm most pleased with this. This is basically a square universal fork, and with lines in there and lines in here, you can shoot through the fork. And I was shooting through the fork last night. I haven't even put in band markers for shooting over the top. These ones are for through the fork. So, yeah. Now, there's two people I have to thank for this. The first is Master Bill Hayes, the Ever Masterful. And the thing that I got from him was the wider fork meant shooting through the fork, and the universal prongs meant you can get extremely accurate. So that was the inspiration there. But it wouldn't have been achievable for such a low fork without Dewey or Mr. Pickle Fork Shooter. Well, I don't know his name. And what you need to be able to shoot this low comfortably is the twist in the pouch that he does for stick shots and for pickle fork shooters. So with the twist in the pouch, you can get this extremely low fork without hitting yourself. And that meant that you can shoot safely and comfortably with no problems, which I was doing last night. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, did I have some fun with this. This is a great shooter. I'm going to be getting some proper wood, and I'm going to be doing some serious work on it. Now, let's just do some comparisons here between the two. You can see here, obviously, the fork dimensions, okay, and width dimensions. See those? Very handy. Look how small this new one is. Pardon me. Let's do some comparisons with just my hand there. And I've only got small hands. Okay. Let's have a look at the Milbra Belzer Hythe. See the same length there? Considerably shorter. Fork, absolutely tiny compared to that one. About the same size, 4 centimeters there. Another Milbra. This is Hogan's, or what is now Milbra Pro Shop. See the same length there, but there again, shorter. Again, much shorter there, that can actually fit right in the middle. 4 centimeters. If I get my fingers underneath and place it on the base there, you can see they're the same height, and that's no coincidence. That was actually my first dimensions I gathered was actually from this shooter. But this though, this I actually was, basically I did 2 or 3 drawings and just improvised, and look what we ended up with. Look how short that is. I mean, this is a small shooter. Look, it's barely above the hand. But this is tiny, and yet so wide. So let's compare a natural. This is my Hussey shooter, and I'll happily shoot through the fork on this. This is the only way I shoot, is through the fork on this, with no single fork hit yet. And look, 4 centimeters, completely unbeknown to me. Isn't that weird? Look how much larger that is. And obviously the length is roughly the same there. But this is the magic comparison, which is the Jörgsbrav, Herr Jörgsbrav. I forgot to say on the other video, I completely forgot what the German for gentleman or sir or whatever you want to look at it is. Herr. But the gap between this fork is basically the standard Phoenix kind of design, kind of shape and size. And look, isn't that weird? This was done by eye, you see. Obviously I cracked out the ruler on paper and on the board, but I didn't actually compare anything. And look, they're almost exactly the same. Isn't that funny? This is obviously much shorter. But funny thing is, as you can see, the comparison there is almost exact, weirdly, and yet it's only just a bit longer than the handle anyway. Isn't that funny? So, what have we proven? We've proven that you don't need a handle that if you make something that looks like those machines out of the film Tron, you can actually end up with a nice little shooter. And we've proven that when it comes to slingshots, I like them a lot. These guys, the 4Q series, is pretty special. I'm going to continue. I'm going to make a couple more. I have them in mind. The 4Q2, as I've described before, and I'm also going to make the little forker, which is going to be essentially one of these, but with a nubbin on and smaller, even still. Probably only 4 centimeters wide, full stop. I might just have something like a 2 centimeter gap in the middle, with a nubbin. And this is where the idea for the pinky hold there, which is actually a middle finger hold now, that nubbin is where the idea came from, because it was designing a small one actually made me think, how am I going to support this? So I think I've got another 2 or 3 planned, but this is the winning design. I think really it is absolutely great. I'll try the smaller ones and see how they work out. I'll try a slightly different normal size one, see how it works out, but this is a real winner. And I'm really happy with it. I mean, who wouldn't be happy with that? It's as secure as you could want. I think that's just about it. I think that's going to be really good. I'm going to get some wood, and over the next couple of days, pardon me again, I'll do some shooting with these. And yeah, I encourage you guys to make your own. Don't, pardon me again, don't sell them or anything. But yeah, please make your own, play around with them, tell me what you think, see if you can find any improvements. Okay, bye.